Welcome to the HIO Show. I'm Stu Cowan of the Montreal Gazette, joined this week by a special guest, former Canadiens defenseman Rick Green, columnist Jack Todd, and HIO blogger Mike Boone. Rick, for yourself coming back to this building, what memories come back or what thoughts come back when you come back in here?
Well, there's many memories. Obviously, the run of '86 is the biggest souvenir that I can recall. Just the guys that I played with, the games that we won, the Game 7 against Hartford, overtime win in Calgary. Just the period of time we were in hotels for 2 months. All those things were a great experience, and the end result, obviously, with the cup.
You guys had a good time together too.
Yeah, I was amazed to see the type of reception that we got in this city.
Yeah. The goaltending was a sort of a goaltending controversy. It looked like, Jack, with between Condon and Tokarski. It seems to be settled now. But what do they do now? Do you bring up Zach Fucale, or you just keep going with these two guys you have?
After the 44-shot save night that he had last night, I think that they should be thinking about giving Fucale a start. At least give him a look, see how he gets in. Maybe it'll work like when Rick first saw Patrick here, and it'll be the start of a brilliant role. We don't know, but I would like to see the kid here.
Yeah,
there'll certainly be the opportunity because I think they have 2 back-to-backs on the road next week. So certainly Condon can't play both.
And you
shouldn't anyway.
You wonder if Therrien still has the confidence in Tokarski after the performance the other night.
Yeah, I think it's wavered.
Yeah, for yourself, Rick, do you remember the first time you saw Patrick Waugh? First time you?
Yeah, I do. I looked at him as a skinny young kid, unproven, and then when we had the opportunity, obviously, to see him in action, to see his ability and his great knack to have those saves, big saves at the appropriate times, was obviously a huge bonus for us, and just a great player to have back there.
The other big thing, Jack, out of the San Jose game the other night, we have a new defense pairing now with PK Subban and Nathan Beaulieu. Just your thoughts about what that pair can do.
Well, they looked great in that game. They put a stop to the bleeding there after Markov and Subban just had a horrible run. I kind of expect them to go back to Markov, but I think long-term that's your future top 2 defensemen. And, when Beaulieu gets the endurance to go 24, 25 minutes a game like PK does, it's going to be fun.
He said after the game against San Jose, he said, I was sucking wind a little bit, he said, but I got used to it. Mike, I know you're a big Nathan Beaulieu fan. What do you like most about him?
The wheels, mainly. I think he can really skate. He's got a good shot, good offensive instincts, and he's a tough kid on the evidence of what we've seen so far. Yeah. So absolutely, he's a future top pairing, and maybe the future is now.
Now, Rick, you were also an assistant coach with the Canadiens back in Michel Therrien's first year, and Markov was there at the time also. What was it like working with him as a defensive coach?
Well, it was a challenge because we had language issues back then, and he was quite set in his ways that he wanted to play the game his way and not the way we would like him to play. So it took a little bit of a process to educate him on how to play the game at the NHL level, and obviously he figured it out and has had a great career.
Now PK Subban has 1 goal only. How do you explain that? What's going on with him?
Well, the one thing I see, and I'd like to hear what Rick thinks about this, is that even compared with Petrie, Beaulieu, and Markov, PK probably drives the net the least, even on the power play. He tends to stay back. The slapper stopped working even before last season. It's still not getting through. And I'm wondering if it's because they have him on the leash or what's going on. I would really like to see him at the net more with the size and strength and speed he has.
It's so hard to score right now in the NHL, it seems.
Well, I think that every team knows PK's strength, and they're playing him fairly close to try and eliminate his big shot. I know PK, just judging from what I saw him last year and this year, I think he's a little more selective in his offensive part of the game, and he's playing very well. To me, I think he's doing very well. He doesn't seem to be getting himself in trouble too often. Offensively, he's not getting the numbers that he did yet, but that'll come.
We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. Rick, you probably know Michel Therrien as well as anybody as working as an assistant coach with him. What was it like working with him as an assistant coach, and just what's the pressure like in this city being behind the bench?
Well, Michel gave me an opportunity to get back into the game in 2000. Carbo and I came in at the same time. Michel was good with me. He allowed me to do my stuff, and a really nice, honest guy that I enjoyed my experience with him. We all knew and know of this city on how expectations are great. Michel does a great job in handling that, and I enjoyed it very much, my time with him.
We talked about the goaltending situation, but I mean the biggest problem with the Canadiens right now is they can't score, Jack.
Yeah.
I think we're realizing just how important Brendan Gallagher is to this hockey team.
The estimate goes up every week that he's out. He seems to be the missing piece, and everything kind of went without him, and without his leadership, without his drive to the net. You see Weiss trying to go to the net to play that role, and he's a little bigger, but somehow there's something Gallagher does that makes it possible for him to plant himself in there and nobody can move him. He must have unreal lower body strength, because you moved a few guys in your time.
Yeah, that was part of our job. We were allowed to do that in our day. Now it's a different scenario. You want to stand in front, you can, stand in there, and,
Just to underline how important he was, the Canadiens are still triple-digit goals scored along with Dallas, the only two teams in the league, and they haven't been able to score in weeks. Really.
And Pacioretty seems to be struggling a bit too. I'm wondering if he's 100% healthy or if he's just sort of lost without Gallagher on that line. Your thoughts, Jack?
He had the big first period there against Ottawa when everyone did, but other than that, he's been dragging a bit, and they've tried different centers with him. He's played with Desharnais, he's played with Plekanec, even briefly with Galchenyuk, which didn't work. But the key element there that's changed is Gallagher's missing, and it seems to throw Pacioretty off more than anybody.
I think he'll be back with Desharnais on the road trip.
Yeah, Desharnais is
definitely
struggling
pointing that way.
Yeah. Now with yourself, Rick, number 1 overall draft pick in 1976. What's the biggest change you see in the game today compared to when you first came into the league?
Well, I'd have to say the defensive zone work. The way that the rules have evolved, where so many guys are, standing around in front. It's really tough for the goalies to see the puck now. We were allowed in our day to physically move guys to the outside. I won't say tackle guys, but we could use some ways to keep guys to the perimeter. Now it's much more difficult for the goalies, because guys get to the net. You've got a lot of legs and bodies in front, and there's a lot of pucks that the goalies really don't see. So I say it's the defensive zone work, the physical play is the biggest difference.
I thought you'd say it's the money.
Well, it's a little bit different. I'm not complaining, because I bought my brand new Corvette for $8,600. So I was king of the road back then.
We're talking. PK Subban was talking this week, saying how he thinks he's getting maybe the benefit of the doubt more from the referees, and then he gets run from behind in that San Jose game. And I'm wondering, how is that not a penalty?
There's no way it's not a penalty. It just is a penalty, and I keep saying this, you wouldn't need the Department of Player Safety so much if the first line of defense is the referees on the ice, and when they don't make those calls, it sets off a whole chain reaction, because I think most players, correct me if I'm wrong, it means more to them. You get sent off for 5 minutes during the game is a lot more important than getting a suspension, fine, whatever, after the fact.
Yeah, and of course Barclay Goodrow, one of the great names in hockey, was Torrey Mitchell of all people who decided to drop the gloves and go against him. Mike, I think maybe if his teammates didn't already like Torrey, I think his reputation.
Oh, absolutely!
More
Props to Mitchell for doing so. I don't remember who was on the ice at the time, but probably Torrey and 4 pacifists.
I didn't really hesitate. Now, Chris Nyland, our regular guest on this panel, you were a teammate of him. Just some of your memories of him as a teammate and what he meant to that team in '86.
Keep it clean, Rick.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, Chris was that kind of guy. But I'll tell you, you don't get many better guys than Chris. A guy with his heart in the right place. I'm glad he was on our team. He did anything and everything he had to do to help the team, and he was tough. I mean, he the worst thing that could happen is have the opposition get the best of him, and he would come back until he made sure that he left a mark on the opposition. But a good guy, really means well, and I have an opportunity to play some alumni games with him and really enjoy the time that we spend together.
Now, Zach Kassian was brought in to try and fill a sort of a role that Nyland did. It didn't work out. He's been placed on waivers. If nobody claims him, what do you do? Do you send him to St. John's? Or what happens with that situation?
I would be shocked if he goes to St. John's. I think the Canadiens are done with him. I think the last place they want him is around their young players down there. It's really tough for the kid. I feel for him. This addiction is a terrible thing, and he's in the grip. He's got to beat it. I don't think this is the place to do it.
Pat Hickey was telling me that in St. John's, between the hotel and the rink is just one big bar that kind of stretches along there. Never mind his influence on young players.
That 86 team that won the Cup, a lot of people say, it was Patrick Roy won the Cup, but there was a lot more to that team. What made that team such a good team character-wise?
I think we just had a little bit of everything, with our group. We had a Naslund, we had a McVie, we had a Scrudlin, we had a Claude Lemieux. We had big defense. We had guys that would elevate their play come playoff time, that would make the difference between almost winning and winning. We just were really fortunate to have that type of chemistry that allowed us to play any kind of game. And the amazing part was, even if we were down in between periods, we'd look around and look at Patrick. We knew Patrick wasn't happy and knew that he would come up with the goods when he had to. And then we'd look at some of the other guys, and somebody was going to say, we're going to find a way to win. And it was scary, but it was just a great group of winners.
You guys were around back in '86. Just your memories of that team also, and with Rick playing.
The thing I remember most is just, you kept waiting for Patrick to crack, and it never happened. And it started then. I still believe it to this day. He was the greatest money goalie of all time. Maybe not Brodeur in terms of overall career performance, but boy, when the game was on the line, he was the guy.
Oh, absolutely. He was probably the greatest money goalie of all time, considering the supporting cast. No offense to Rick.
Now, you came from Washington to Montreal. What was it like going from that environment to coming here and playing in this building?
Well, I mean, we were. I had an opportunity to get out of my end zone coming to Montreal because I was always in my zone in Washington. But obviously, a huge difference in everything around hockey, from the fans to the environment to the players. Just very fortunate to have that opportunity to play in this city with this great franchise.
You were saying you still remember the fans used to line up outside the door?
It was amazing. It'd be 40 below, and they'd be standing out there and waiting for autographs, and they were there all the time, and true fans.
That's it for this week's show. Thank you so much, Rick Green, for doing this. Jack, Mike, we'll see you all next week.